up, everybody? It's a Thursday, a Friday, maybe a Saturday. It depends on when you're consuming. It doesn't really matter because this is the WrestleZone Wrap-Up. I'm coming to you from the Thunder Zone. That you can see the top. You can actually see the top of the curtain if you're watching the video version of the show.
Jesus Christ, Kevin.
What's up, everybody? I am Kev Kellam. Joining me is a faithful friend, one of the true shitheads of wrestling, a proud member of the kayfabe crew. All right, we're gonna get those satin jackets one day. We're gonna get those satin jackets, and we're not gonna go to Ribera. We're gonna go to Benihana and wear satin jackets. I'm talking to Mr. Mike O'Keefe. You can check out his podcast, Education Schmeducation, a podcast, a funny podcast about the lessons of life. Lessons of life, are they?
Yes, we talk about the lessons of life. No,
quickly tell them about the podcast. We're talking AEW, all that stuff, but we'll get a plug in now before we jump into the questions.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, my old friend. I'm a comedian. I'm studying to become a teacher. I realize that everyone has funny stories from when they were in school. I have comedians come on and tell their funny stories from school. So far, we have had Sarah Shockey, who wrestling fans know. We have had Ben Roy, who comedy fans know. We've also had some other buddies. It's very fun. Come hang out with us. It's a good time.
All right, plenty to get into. Let's jump into, obviously, Thursdays.
What a transition.
Yeah, quite the transition. Thursdays are the day we get ratings. We were expecting a ratings delay because of the holiday on Monday. Sometimes we don't get these out. But the ratings on Thursday are the ones that people really like to debate in wrestling nerddom because it's WWE NXT versus AEW. This has been going on for more than a year. AEW's had a significant lead on them, but NXT has made it interesting a handful of times, and they did today. This is an NXT episode coming off of last Sunday's well-received Takeover, which featured a great main event with Pete Dunne and Finn Balor. That played into Kyle O'Reilly and the Undisputed Era breaking up, Adam Cole turning on him, super blasting Finn Balor out of nowhere with the super kick. Is the Undisputed Era broken up? Are we getting a triple threat? What's going on? That helped NXT this week. Their number is up. AEW still in the lead. So AEW's overnight rating for the night was 747,000 viewers. They drew a 0.31 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. This is up slightly from last week. PW Torch reports NXT viewership, though, is up significantly. The previous week, they had 558. This week, they have 713,000 viewers, a 0.16 in the demographic with the 18 to 49. NXT previously had a 0.12. That's pretty big. It's pretty big rise there. It's one of the biggest numbers of the year so far. And certainly an increased level of interest in NXT coming off Takeover, Mike.
Yeah, see what happens when you put a story on your TV show that people care about and want to see what happens next. See what happens. It's great. It was such a fun, that show on Sunday was so much fun, top to tail, tip to taint, as they say. And it was great. And then NXT last night was really good. It's good to see the black and yellow kind of right the ship and put together this long form story that I'm really enjoying with Finn and UE and Pete Dunne and his gang of working class thugs coming out there. And Danny Burke just seems like a guy who would be friends with your dad.
Yeah, but he's also the guy that's friends with your dad that your mom's like, I don't want Danny around at the barbecue.
And he can't come.
I don't like when your dad hangs out with Mr. Birch. I don't like him. He brings a cricket bat and starts hitting people with it. It's not fun.
Danny got a DUI in 1997, and I don't like him around.
We are getting ridiculous. We are getting ridiculous pretty early here. Craig Backlund texting and saying NXT was good last night. Yeah, it was. It was a pretty strong show. I enjoyed it. And they are priming to have some interesting things. As April texted in the show saying March 3rd, NXT will have the Dusty Women's Classic Tournament winners, Dakota Kai and Gonzalez, taking on Nia Jax, the whole team of WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. That night, MSK will also take on Birch and Lorcan for the NXT Men's Championships because they won the Dusty tournaments for the men and women. They now get these title shots. That is being pitted up against AEW, which is going to have a Shaq attack when Shaquille O'Neal, NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal, will join the show, and he will tag with Jade Cargill to take on Cody Rhodes who is having a baby on the way with his wife Brandy, and Red Velvet, a mixed tag team match. They've been building up to this a while. I don't know about the Shaquille O'Neal match. I thought this was going to be on pay-per-view, which is just 4 days after that. They have the Revolution pay-per-view. Why put this on TV? You think that the play is to pop a big rating number out of Shaquille O'Neal being on your show?
Yeah, I think that's probably the call. And I don't think NBA, casual NBA fans are going to fork over $50 for a pay-per-view. But
they'll tune into a TV show.
Yeah, but they'll turn into a TV show, especially if there's they have the NBA almost every night that they don't have AEW on TNT, and so I think it'll be a great way to get eyes to the product, and they can make money off that advertising, so they're still making money off of it. And if people watch and they like it, hey, there's a pay-per-view, we can't go anywhere. Let's
even if you upsell like 10% of that new audience, that's a lot of new people buying.
For sure. That's real money. Yep. And then they're gonna get to see a man explode. They're gonna blow up a man, Kevin.
Let's get into that. AEW set this up. We did our AEW NXT post show. John Clark, who I do my shows with, he espouses his NXT bias. He has no problem with it. But he had issues with this exploding barbed wire death match that was booked here. This was the Valentine that AEW gave Kenny Omega, their rebellious champion that they don't like because he wrestles in other promotions. They gave him this match, Jon Moxley versus Omega. This is their third match, their second one on pay-per-view, and it will be an exploding barbed wire death match. Certainly something you won't see in WWE, something we've seen in Japan. Some fans have seen it here in the United States in front of small, dingy warehouse crowds, right?
Those people are in the woods and they're hitting each other with bandsaws, and God love them. Wrestling is a delicious stew, and every ingredient is welcome. This ingredient, however, is not my favorite. I don't love a death match, but I think these two guys are talented enough to make it interesting and make it good. I'll tell you this: if someone slaps on like a headlock or a hammerlock, I'm going to laugh so hard. just the idea that we have all this C4 and all this barbed wire, but we must chain wrestle first, my friend.
Who needs a spinning toe hold when you can hit a man with a weed whacker? What's the point here? Is it something you think that is going to appeal to maybe even, like you mentioned, they're doing this. Shaquille O'Neal is going to be busy that weekend with the All-Star game. I had someone give me that comment. Thank you. We live in that wrestling bubble, right? Yeah. So he's going to be a big front sell. But do you think a match like this, that they're going to be pushing on that March 3rd episode, that is very much a circus freakish match? We're selling freakish violence with two big name guys by a mainstream company. This is a very hardcore underground thing for them to do while they're flirting with an NBA superstar.
It's definitely a swing for the fences, I think. I'll be honest with you. I kind of trust AEW a lot more than I do other certain promotions that are very big. I don't know, but I think I'm excited to see what they do. I also think if you get a casual fan who's like, let me check this out, I wonder if this is still crazy. And then they're like, it's an exploding barbed wire death match. They're gonna be like, fuck yeah, it's still crazy. I think that's like I can see
the video game crowd being like, I want to see this, I want to see this thing. So yeah. I could see that there as well. And the pay-per-view is kind of coming together. We knew we were getting a Moxley Omega match. It was just a matter of what were they going to announce. Another match to put together. It's pretty interesting. It seems like it's going to be Jericho and MJF versus the Young Bucks for the AEW tag team titles. What do you think of that match?
I think that'll be great. I think there'll be 3 guys who are ready to put on a main event match and the lead singer of Fozzy, but I still think it'll be great.
That was unnecessary.
I am so sorry. I love Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I think he will do a good job of doing his new brawler, Bruiser Brody type dude in this match. And I think it's going to they have time to. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I trust all 4 of those guys to put on a really, really great match. I'm excited about it, and I also like that they are keeping the Bucks versus Good Brothers thing a little bit longer because I don't think they need to do it yet. That story's not done, so let's keep things rolling.
Yeah, AEW spinning a lot of different plates here. All right, they're doing this collaboration with Shaq, which I think is way bigger than the other stuff that we're going to talk about. I think fans are a little bit more hardcore week-to-week wrestling fans want to know this. How many more people are going to get into this big everyone who isn't WWE cabal that AEW is leading here? Impact is in it. AAA is in it from Mexico. The NWA is in this thing. And New Japan now is somehow connected to this as well, as Kenta appeared on the show a few weeks ago. Jon Moxley, who's going to be main eventing AEW's pay-per-view, he's going to be wrestling for New Japan Strong on the New Japan World streaming service. He's still allowed to do those matches. Now they're doing them stateside, so they're figuring out a way to have him do that. How far is this thing going to go? Because fans want to see all those other big names from Japan come over. Logistically, guys, that just isn't going to happen. It isn't going to happen until fans come back. But what are those dream matches that come to your mind? Because I know you love yourself some New Japan. You love the King of Sport. All right, but book some. Give me some of those that on pay. They feel like they're a distinct possibility in that kind of final quarter of 2021 when we can open up arenas again.
Boy, oh boy, I would like to see Lance Archer fight Suzuki. I think that would be very fun.
They would hit each other very hard.
They would hit each other very hard. Also, there's some history there with the Archer being in Suzuki-gun for so long. I would like to see what I really want to see is an ultimate payoff to this Bullet Club thing with GOD and Jay coming over as well, and them doing something with the Bucks and with the Good Brothers and kind of getting that band back together before making it explode. I'll watch Okada fight anyone.
Yeah.
I anyone and everyone. I am also a huge Shingo Takagi fan, and I think he needs to have a match with Jon Moxley so bad. I would love and of course Muta versus Omega.
Laura the Rock texting. She would love to see Great Muta versus Omega. Great Muta recently just won in Japan a world championship at the age of 60.
No, pretty impressively. The match is not bad. It was
at the age of 60, this guy can still go. And mind you, he's adapted his style. He's still not spitting goo in people's faces. He's a little bit more of a different character now. Yeah. But the Emperor of the Ring still continues to dominate there. He has been an adaptive guy in his career and recently signed a 2-year deal with Pro Wrestling Noah. But in that press conference, he says he got an offer from Impact Wrestling to go and defend the Noah Championship in the United States.
That's very
and said it just casually, like it was just a thing, not like it was built up to. He's like, I believe the United States Impact would like me to defend the championship. Maybe that can be arranged. But then leave. That's just another little drop of blood in the Shark Tank, and we're already like the sharks are already losing our minds over here. So the smart Shark Tank is really we have a lot to handle. Calm down, Muto. You picked the wrong time to drop that there.
There are some guys from All Japan that I like to see come over, like Kento Miyahara is so great, and I think he would really connect with some American audiences, especially the neck bearded ones.
Now Cody Rhodes, he is one of the EVPs of AEW, obviously a big prominent figure for them. He's going to be having this big celebrity crossover with Shaq in a few weeks, which will, whether you like it, guys, it's going to be the biggest thing that AEW's done. It's going to get them a lot of attention, and a lot of new people are going to see that, and that's why it's being done this way. He said about another collaboration we thought we'd never see. The forbidden door of New Japan, as it's been heralded, is open now. And another big forbidden door, if we're going to talk about opening doors that we never thought would open, has been pitched to him and has been pitched to Tony Khan, AEW president. He was on a podcast as well, and he mentioned this. What about you guys doing something with WWE? Your main competitor. What about you guys doing something with them? Now, this came up with me earlier in the week, and I don't mind. I want to ask you because you're following things, and you're more on the AEW things, and you'll come in and ask you like, hey, what's going on with this? Or, we checked out the Royal Rumble together. It was a fun time, right?
Yeah.
So you follow things. Obviously, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that, like, of all these, it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But Cody said, yeah, if we could do it, let's do it. Like, his idea is sky's the limit. Why would we not do it? Like, the reasons to do it don't outweigh the reasons for it. Fans want it. I can see WWE. WWE is in no position where they need that. I think AEW would need it more than they would because it's just WWE's a bigger brand. No matter, even people want to say AEW's cooler, or they're taking the piss out of WWE right now. It's still a bigger brand. They just signed their $3 billion TV deal in 3 years.
It's not even close. Like, it's not even the same. Yeah, that's like saying McDonald's and the Coney Island by my mom's house are in the same business. Like, it's a very different. I think it's a very different situation.
You go to the Coney Island by your mom's house in Michigan. What do you get?
Oh man, it depends. Sometimes a Euro. I like the Euro over there is good at Mark's Midtown Coney Island. Shout out Plymouth Road. What's up?
Shout out your regional fast food place.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Euro's good. I'll get I like just a deluxe burger.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't have a Coney dog too much because I'm getting on in years.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, you can't shit your pants when you're 31. You can't do it. But as far as WWE and AEW getting together, I think it's a fun thing to talk about. And if you have the WWE games, you can download guys and have them fight each other. And
that's probably the closest you get sometimes.
And just because Vince is a dinosaur, and he's probably going to live to be 200.
He's not a dinosaur. He has a dinosaur's head in his office.
I always get those two mixed up.
It's different.
Well, I thought it was his skull that he transplanted himself because he's such a.
Jason Hart certainly taking a side here. WWE is too greedy and won't allow their guys to lose to AEW guys. Well, I'm sorry, if you're AEW, I don't think you'd want your guys to lose to WWE guys either.
Yeah, of course.
So obviously people bring this up. It's a super show. It's DC versus Marvel. They've done this before. We got to see that. They actually made a crossover, like the comic book series like that. If you ever saw this, I think it would be, as I mentioned earlier this week, it'd be some form of charity. Maybe they would be on the same show together, but I don't think they would wrestle each other.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a wrestling show, it was just like a talk show, they would do that. There would have to be a charity element to tie these things in. And I think those are if you are going to see it, that's where you would see it. Before Dynamite launched on TNT, you did see a little bit of it in an internet stream that they did at one of the big video game conventions when the New Day played the Elite. They played Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks in a video game. And that was very Street Fighter. And it was pretty cool. And it was like a fun collaboration. These are like-minded guys. And those are things you'll see, I think, before you ever see like a super card mega show.
Yeah.
And now, mind you, if there was just a huge charity opportunity and it said, let's do this for charity and let's have something and doesn't really matter who wins, like we're just raising money, I could see something like that. And the thing is, there's going to be a lot of charity options that a lot of big name companies are going to want to be part of when the world is open again. And that is the circumstance I could see it in. This isn't the WrestleZone guy telling you this is going to happen. But if it did, that's how it would. I think there would have to be all right, this is all good public relations and we're doing a good thing. Okay. It doesn't really matter who goes over. The good cause goes over.
Yeah. It would be, every match would end with the guys raising each other's hands in the ring and everyone would clap, and it would probably not be that entertaining because there wouldn't be a lot of conflict, but it would be cool. Do I think it's going to happen? No. It
would be a house show. It would be booked like a house show.
Yeah, who knows? But hey, I forgot to ask this though: is Ring of Honor in on this? This Worlds Colliding?
They are not. They are not in on it, but I would say they've done their job with the pandemic. They did the bubble thing. They adapted. They did the pure wrestling tournament. They put on some great shows. They've also gone on a signing spree and signed up a lot of their big name guys. They signed Roosh. They signed Dragon Kid. Kenny King signed a new deal there.
Dragon Lee, Kevin.
Dragon Lee, excuse me. So they're.
Are you Dragon Kid?
This whole time I was under the hood. The whole time I was doing double duty. No, I think they are the big one that's outside of this thing. I'm not. This is speculation. Ring of Honor did a lot to make All In, which was basically the pilot episode for AEW, the pilot for Tony Khan to sell this to major media companies. They did a lot of the production for that. And I've been heard, not directly from anyone with the company, but other people aware of it, that there were some hurt emotions like, hey, you guys are all leaving and going for this other big money thing, and we put you in this position and we wanted to sign you and you all left. And I do think there's been a growth period for them to get away from that, but they still have a really, really strong roster. The Briscoes, maybe one of the best tag teams of a generation, is still there.
And a guy who I think if the pandemic hadn't happened, I think they have two guys who would be, but three or four that I think would have become huge stars over WrestleMania weekend, which is Gresham, Tony Deppen, Danhausen, and I think Bandito would have really catapulted into that upper echelon of indie guys had WrestleMania weekend happen. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, you know, WrestleMania weekend is happening. Did you know it is happening? And I get asked this every single week, and I don't have a question about it now, but I get asked about it every episode. We were told when they announced this year's WrestleMania would return to Raymond James Stadium April 10th and 11th. WWE would present it two-night scenario, just like they did last year, that fans would be in attendance. We expected some type of ticket on sale announcement after the Super Bowl. There was no ticket on sale announcement. That is where the Super Bowl was run, same arena. You think WWE would benefit from it? But I will give them this. They're taking their time and their due diligence to sell these tickets and put them out there in a way that I am told is been all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and the hope of doing this in the safest and most above the board, equitable way you can. The thing is, these tickets are going to fly off the shelves. How do you keep them from getting on the secondary market? Because I don't think you want that in a pandemic. You want whoever buys the ticket to buy it, so then you can trace it. They're going to do the clear result thing that's been done in a lot of different events where they do it, test some of those people. Are you going to have people that are there that are first responders that have already been fully vaccinated to some degree? So there's a lot of different things they have to go through. I mean, we even had WWE on their quarterly call say they don't even know if they can sell merchandise. That isn't even clear to them if they can do that when they start doing live events again. So this WrestleMania show isn't just WrestleMania, which is already a challenge in itself. It's how do we even start to begin the transition back to live events as a company at this scale? So I think that is the challenge. But I also think I don't see fans getting super mad about it. How do you feel about WrestleMania with fans this year?
Do it. You have to vet everybody that comes in there. If not, that's a legal nightmare. I don't think anyone should. I think they should try and limit the travel going in and out of Tampa. So if there's a way to just get local people,
try and sell the tickets only in Florida, that type of thing,
something like that. I don't know. It just seems like such a headache. Seems like a crazy undertaking at this point. But revenue. I mean, but they have these TV deals, so it's like their ticket revenue isn't that important to them anymore. I wouldn't even try it if it were me. I wouldn't. Just wait until
I would almost do it, but just give the tickets to first responder people.
That would be the way to go.
And I'm leaning. I don't think it's going to happen, but that field is going to be open. I don't think anyone's going to get on that field unless they've at least gotten a shot. That's just my take.
For sure.
And
it's a football stadium. It seats about 70,000, 80,000 people.
And WWE went on the record. They said, we're going to take a lot of notes from what they do at the Super Bowl and run with it. So you're going to see cardboard fans fill those seats out. We're going to see that. You're going to see some mixture of the Thunderdome thing there. You're going to see people spread out. You're going to have like 20 to 30,000 people in an 80,000 seat stadium spread out. So hopefully everything's safe. I understand why they're doing it. I think it can be done this way safely. I get where it could be a nightmare if you don't, as you say, go through all those extra hoops.
Yeah.
But if you think you're down in Florida and it's going to be easy to get a WrestleMania ticket, it is not. It is not.
And it shouldn't. It wasn't before. And it's going to be better now. So
I can tell you as someone who had to buy one day of, not easy. Yeah. Not a fun time. Not a fun time. The WWE Road to WrestleMania goes through the chain link challenge that is the Elimination Chamber, which I think is a sleeper pay-per-view. So rarely have I seen a chamber match that was bad. I think last year they had the one with Shayna Baszler where she went through everyone in 15 minutes. That was kind of a letdown. But overall, these are really, really fun.
How do you feel about the new chamber with the pads?
Where are the pads?
The pads are where they used to have the steel grating on the floor outside.
When like a guy goes over the ropes and they like land on like a board now instead of just straight up chain link fence.
Yeah, it's like it's I don't know if it's like the same pad they have on the floor for during a regular match, but they have those like pads out there, and I think it really, I mean, when these guys aren't worried about killing themselves, I think the chamber match is better.
It does. I will say this. It's one of the better gimmick things they've ever created, like the Hell in a Cell and different things. Yeah. The thing I like about it the most is there's a lot of people that can be featured in this. You don't have to win this thing to come off looking like a star.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we've seen that before. Kofi Kingston lost one of these things, and it really set him up for WrestleMania.
Well, this was Vladimir Kozlov's big coming out party. It was when he was our buddy Marty DeRosa said he saw him in a movie recently, and he was like, "He looks good." And I was like, "Yeah, well, all right, shut up, Marty."
Shout out to Marty. Marty and Sarah love wrestling. Go check it out. This show though is interesting. We thought we would get a women's chamber match. The women are obviously featured prominently on Raw and SmackDown. They're two major brands, but oddly, they went with two men's chamber matches. Do you think
is it for the title and then for the tag titles then?
Well, the men's SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, the winner gets to face Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, because he's the head of the table, is insulted at the idea that he would have to be in the Elimination Chamber as the Universal Champion. How dare you?
They should have turned Roman heel like fucking 2 years ago. It's a shit. They honestly, if I was a WWE stockholder, I would be fuming at the lost money from Roman wearing a shirt for so long. That boggles my mind. He's like the hottest dude ever. He wore a shirt for years. So fucking stupid.
I love it. You're like, come on. Get that hot Samoan guy on TV. All right. I need my gal. I need my gal sitting on the couch fanning herself so I can watch my slam stories on the big screen and I don't get kicked down the hall to the office.
My carpets should be damp.
The best is when Roman debuted his new look, which is just him showing his chest, right? Is my favorite was I saw dozens of tweets that were just the gif of macaroni in a pot. Just people just doing macaroni.
Yeah, I do. Heel Roman is very, very, very good though. And all it took was him getting cancer and him surviving it, and then probably saying, I think it's time to be a bad guy. But what are you gonna do?
So the winner of the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match gets to take on Roman the same night. They go through this big chain link elimination match that takes like 20-30 minutes minimum, and the thing is 20-30 minutes. Giorgio Reyes saying Cesaro is going to look like a star inside the chamber. They've been putting a lot of heat, a lot of gasoline in the tank for Cesaro. The match will feature Cesaro versus another favorite that people thought of big things on the road to WrestleMania, but they haven't turned out for him just yet. Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, who's been at war with Roman Reigns for months rather, and they've had a handful of very good matches. I think people are sleeping on in terms of just the best matches in wrestling recently. His own flesh and blood, his own cousin, Jey Uso, will be in the chamber. King Corbin will be there, and Sami Zayn. So that is quite the murderer's row there for the Elimination Chamber for the SmackDown men's side. Who wins this thing and then gets punched in the face by Roman Reigns?
Listen. We all love the independent wrestling scene from the late 2000s. So this is gonna. It's gonna be fun. I think this is an opportunity to kind of slingshot someone who should be in a match like that, who hasn't gotten that shot. However, who do I want to win? I would love Cesaro to win. Who do I think is going to win? I probably someone's going to slip and fall on a banana peel.
There'll be shenanigans.
Yeah, somehow Roman fights his self-conscious. I don't know. Who fucking knows with WWE?
Roman replaces his brother, his cousin in the match, and then he fights himself. And
yeah.
So.
Well, it's always going to be a fucked finish.
But look, I mean, that's a great. You bring up you're an independent wrestling fan. You think of Claudio Castagnoli, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, Kevin Steen is in this one. El Generico. If you were a fan of Ring of Honor from 2003 to the last 5-6 years ago, this is a great match.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is a banger.
I didn't even realize this is how not WWE main roster aware I am. I didn't realize this was on Sunday. I'm looking at this card. There's some good stuff on here. Keith Lee and the Bro are fighting that muscle man,
Bobby Lashley.
That's gonna be okay, right?
You know what? Matt Riddle and Matt Riddle's been getting beaten up by Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Business now for months, and it's kind of long in the tooth. The injection of Keith Lee into this thing on the Raw side has been pretty interesting because I do think there is this larger than life vibe when Bobby Lashley and Keith Lee are in the ring together.
Yeah,
and I've heard the term hoss fight, but I think it's a little bit different because you have Riddle in there. Yeah. And Riddle, when he doesn't have to be, WWE's answer to Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, can do, and that's entertaining. There's a place for that. They need funny, goofy guys to clown around. He can do that. But the thing is, this guy can go. He can really, really go in the ring.
I think the worst thing a wrestler can do in WWE is let it be known that they are at all funny. It's the worst thing you can do because Matt Riddle literally could kill with his bare hands the entire roster. He's the most lethal, dangerous guy they have, but he showed a little personality, and now he's fucked. Drew Gulak is a shooter's shooter. Drew Gulak can turn anyone into a pretzel. He was funny. He was funny a couple times on accident because he's actually a funny guy, and now he's just a doofus for the rest. It just stinks. Vince McMahon is such a tool. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Is he? Because you just said like there was a handful of matches on this card that you're liking, but guy, I still don't like Vince.
I know.
You're not going to get me to like Vince
because like on paper it looks good, but then you're like, yeah, now Riddle is Spicoli, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's like, yeah, they buy WWE buys really good guitars. Hi, Wesley Turner. How's it going? WWE buys really good, really expensive guitars, and then they play Happy Birthday on them. That is what they do.
Okay, that's fair. But also, like, this is a means to an end. Like, this is the Elimination Chamber, and the end of this whole story, guys, is WrestleMania. Like, so this is just a cool. This is like that second movie from Lord of the Rings where they do the big fight at the tower. But it's really not about that fight. It's about the fight at the end of the next movie, So I understand that. If they can create some...
The second one's the best one.
Yeah. Twin Towers? Twin Towers is so much better. Yeah.
Two Towers.
Two Towers.
Two Towers.
Whatever.
Something else.
Come on. It came out half a life ago. It's fine. We had this weird thing here. You talk about shenanigans and stuff you don't like. I don't like this. Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion, is set to face Lacey Evans for the Raw Women's Championship but Lacey Evans is in the middle of an ongoing feud where she has wooed, if you will, Charlotte Flair's dad, the legendary Nature Boy Ric Flair. And she did not get in a tag team match where she was taking on Charlotte and Asuka with her Australian buddy Peyton Royce because she's pregnant. That's why she didn't get in the ring, even though she stayed on the apron.
What's going to happen, Kevin?
I assume Peyton Royce is going to take her place. But they didn't announce anything. They just announced she just said she's pregnant on TV. She's legitimately pregnant by all outlets that we can report. And that is in her real life. No, she's not in a real life arrangement there with Mr. Ric Flair.
Oh, Ric Flair's baby? Oh, good. Okay.
Of course, Rick had a lot of fun with this on Twitter, posting all of the promos where he alludes to his intimate scenarios with the female audience. And he said all the meet me at the hotel. I'm going to be at the Hyatt. I'm going to be at this. I'm going to be at this place. And all you ladies in the audience want to ride Space Mountain. All those things. He put a supercut of that up the night this was announced. So someone at his social media team said, "Woo, do all my sexy promos."
At this point in his life, I think Ric Flair is out of cum. He's just. I'm shoving in.
You heard it here first.
I'm shoving in. No more cum.
Mike O'Keefe on the WrestleZone Wrap-Up can officially confirm.
Just getting reports in. Yes, Ric Flair has blown his last load. We thank Dasha for that update.
Oh, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
Charlie Caruso being
I think I'm worried though. I think Asuka could lose his belt in some scenario to somebody just because maybe that was the direction they were going in, and then they got this curveball. We'll definitely see where this is going. Maybe this is just a write-off for Lacey to go away for a while, and they can pick it up again at some point. And certainly it leaves Charlotte hanging with like, here I am with this torch, and we can still go somewhere with it, but what are we doing with the story? So yeah, I do think she could be left out there. So we'll see what happens there. The other men's Elimination Chamber match. This one I think is a little bit more interesting to me on the Raw side. And very rarely have I said something from Raw recently it's more compelling than the SmackDown side in terms of main roster WWE. Drew McIntyre will defend the WWE Championship against Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, his former best friend, who pinned him this past Monday on Monday Night Raw in a gauntlet match, which was really good. And Mr. Money in the Bank, The Miz, is still scheduled to be in this, but I believe WWE.com still has him on their graphic. Kofi Kingston was able to take that spot from him when Miz said he didn't want it because he's like, why would I even be in this match? I have the Money in the Bank briefcase. I can just cash in when you guys pull the cage up. So he's teasing all of that. So there's that element. He could cash in. Drew, obviously, not great odds for you as a champion going into a cage match like this. So there's a lot of moving factors here, even more than the SmackDown match. I'm a little bit more into this one than the one with Roman Reigns.
I mean, yeah. There's a lot of guys in there that do good work. Drew's great. Let me ask you this question. Do you think they love Drew because of what he's been doing during this entire thing? Like, do you think this is a real, like, attaboy scenario for Drew McIntyre and that he's going to still be one of their top guys when everyone comes back because he
deserves it,
like, the entire pandemic?
Yeah, I would say he deserves it. He's earned it. And he's made himself a top level star in a pandemic, and it's believable. You know, and he was getting some really great reactions before WrestleMania last year and the crowds went away and stuff like that. And he was really becoming this modern day Hulk Hogan, just the big guy that you can get behind, you know? And I feel so bad for him because he's had to adapt so much. I mean, yeah, he dropped the title Randy Orton just for TV pop and then got it back. He's done some tremendous things. He's had some very underrated matches. That match he had with Roman at Survivor Series was fantastic, by the way. So, and also he's cut some good promos. Now, some people say, oh, you're making him work harder because he has to get Sheamus through this. And Sheamus isn't the wrestler he once was. Sheamus is kicking people's ass. I'm sorry. If you're sleeping on Sheamus, this guy hits harder. You talked about New Japan. Sheamus is one of those guys that I think can walk into New Japan and fit right in terms of just smacking people. And he beat up Drew on Monday. They made it clear that he could kick his ass. Mind you, it's the end of a match. I wasn't so much into Sheamus and Drew, which is a tease direction for WrestleMania. But it does have a personal storyline. They do have a lot of history together. It's a match that both of them have said that they want. But it is a match that comes off the page like people are seeing with Edge or Roman that's being talked about for Mania. And also, I'm okay with not knowing exactly what Mania is this yet. We have so much TV that we get to watch before we get there.
Yeah, isn't there 2 more pay-per-views before it?
There will be Fastlane. That'll be the first one when they make the move, when the network stops being its own app and it moves over to NBC's Peacock and goes behind that pay window. The first event they'll do on there, the first special event, not a pay-per-view, will be Fastlane on March 21st. That switch, by the way, occurs for you guys who haven't set up yourself up for it, is March 18th. So this will be the last WWE Network exclusive event this Sunday.
Great. Sheamus is, in my opinion, Sheamus is one of the best WWE style workers they've had in years.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's very
so hard
wrestling the way that they want him to wrestle, which is honestly impressive. And I think all of his matches look different, in certain ways, which is really hard to do when, it's all, hey, put the heat on, babyface comeback. Somebody you think walks up, you look at them and go, "Huh?" and then you get rolled up. It's really tough to do that in an interesting way every time.
Well, I mean, those are the we talk about redundancy. Those are the redundant things we see WWE do throughout the year. But I do feel a heightened level of storytelling right now from WWE. I thought Raw was better this week. Thought SmackDown was good this week. Thought NXT was good this week. I'm okay with it. When it's good, I'm going to say it's good. I'm not going to. Yeah, like for the overall, there's plenty of things. Like there's plenty of goofy things they were doing that were like off that they didn't need to do. Jay Feliciano, a man who knows a thing or two about the WWE locker room, says WWE needs to capitalize on the Blue Chew money, the Blue Chew dick pill money, with a good Flair promo. I mean, Flair doing a Blue Chew ad. Come on, man.
Is WWE sponsored by Blue? Is Blue Chew advertising on WWE?
No, they have what's the one? They have they always have the ads with Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie on them.
Oh yeah.
When you're in your late 30s or your early 40s and your testosterone goes down, you got to take this vitamin mix.
No thanks.
Can't remember the name of it. I don't think they have a direct sponsorship with them, but those ads are always bought on WTV.
I do. Yeah, and here's the thing about any match with AJ Styles. AJ will go in there and make that match better.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. He is a worker's worker, and his hands are never slippery. He's got
gloves on.
He's got gloves on. He's got very straight hair and horrible views on politics, but he's a fantastic wrestler.
Jon M. Parrillo saying, I guess he says mix, but Miz will cash in on Sheamus after he beats McIntyre. That could be quite the scenario that you want to go with there. I mean, if they want to take the belt off McIntyre and give him something to chase into Mania, this could be a way to do it, where it's like, hey, I really didn't, lose this straight up one-on-one. I lost this against a mountain of metal and 5 other guys and somebody who didn't even have to be in the match. And they've done this before where someone cashes in after the Elimination Chamber. So it isn't unproven ground. Fans can get into that story. Miz is a real chicken shiz. All right. That's one thing he's good at. Yeah. And he's also a big mainstream darling. So I don't think it's bad to put a title on a mainstream darling and have somebody chase him into Mania. But is that a Mania match? Something makes me think Miz is not he's a good, you're going to have him in WrestleMania, and he should have a big match in WrestleMania or have a significant role. All right. I'm not denying he deserves it. He'll go in the Hall of Fame, whether you like it or not. But I think he's bound to do the celebrity thing with Bad Bunny this year, the very popular rapper who's getting WWE a ton of attention. And maybe even Bad Bunny keeps him from cashing in. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
He is so good at wrestling people who aren't wrestlers, the Miz.
Yes.
He's very good at it. And I think he legitimately likes doing it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, good for him. I wouldn't like doing that. But he does. So good for him. And he's like, there's no, he paid his dues. And I remember watching him on Real World New York.
He wasn't even 21 when he did that. I think he was he was a kid. And he was saying he was the Miz then and wanted to be a wrestler. And
it's a crazy story. And he said a thing on that show that I always remember. He said, "Man, I love Ohio girls." Shut up. What is wrong with you? You mean girls?
Listen, girl.
Ohio girl.
All right. You You may think you're a Cleveland 10, but really you're a Dayton 6. You know what I mean? That's what you are. Not a Flyer.
Anyway,
we get into this though.
All my boys in Cincinnati.
Nasty Natty. What's up? Shout out. Shout out. What's your favorite? Where do you get a gyro in Cincinnati? We're talking about
where do you get a gyro? And so where don't you get a gyro? Probably Greek, the Greek neighborhood.
The Coney Island. They have franchises across the Midwest.
No, they have. Listen, we'll talk about regional chilies on my show. Chili Zone.
Yeah, Chili Zone. It's been going for a long time. Chili Zone.
It's great.
Do want to get into this. I know you've enjoyed some of Evolve, a promotion that kind of shut up shop last year with the pandemic and affected like a lot of different independent organizations were. They've had a very openly known working relationship with WWE NXT in terms of developing talent. Some NXT talent went there. Evolve shows made their way into the network. And now we learned that WWE NXT is potentially going to launch another possible TV show that has the working title underneath it, NXT Evolve. Factors that have been known about it. A pilot has been taped. It was hosted by Josiah Williams. You hear him doing all the fun rap songs for NXT. He did that really cool one that came out this week on Cameron Grimes, stacking money to the moon. It's a hit. It's a hit right out of the gate. It was a really, really fun song. And he's the host of it. Gabe Sapolsky, who was the longtime producer and one of the main guys who really got Ring of Honor off the ground, learned under the tutelage of Paul Heyman in the ECW office, is reportedly the main creative head on this. And there is some type of championship there. Now, I haven't seen any images from this. None have gotten out. This was taped in a warehouse. They gave it a big Fight Club feel. Maybe this is what Raw Underground was supposed to be. So some people have speculated that. So that's the news that's out about NXT Evolve. Armando Lopez asking, what is the new show NXT is coming to fruition? We don't know when it would come out. If it did come out, I think you wouldn't see it until after they move over to Peacock, or at least hear about it. As here's a new thing that we're launching that's going to be a new project you're going to feature. I don't know if they need another week-to-week show because they already have a lot. You know, WWE already produces hours and hours of first-run content every single week. If it was a series of specials that they would do from time to time, I would be into that. They got a whole lot. I think maybe they're pushing the level of appetite for some wrestling fans, possibly. But if they did it periodically and it was kind of like a Mae Young Classic or Cruiserweight Classic, where it's like, hey, let's bring in people for these short-term specials, I'd be into that. I'd be okay with it.
I loved Evolve. I was a huge Evolve guy. I like the idea of them doing stuff because, like, they've used former Evolve talent really well. Namely, even guys who were in Evolve and then like weren't involved. Like Gargano was like Mr. Evolve, and Stallion was a big Evolve guy. Austin Theory was like Evolve's wunderkind, and I think they're doing right by him now. So anything they could do with Evolve, I'm big fan. Keep it going. Good for them. Love it.
Could be a real big thing here. Once again, thank you for joining us, Mike. This has been a weird time to be a comedian, but I guess maybe a good time to be a podcaster. A lot more people can spend time with podcasts, right?
I found out a stat the other day. Over 900,000 podcasts have started since the pandemic.
Are you serious?
It's actually a shit time to be a podcaster.
I can tell you there's been a greater demand from the people that listen to my show to want more and more and more.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, thank you guys so much. If you're listening, give us a 5-star review on all the different apps. Thank you to people checking out the show in Singapore, Australia, Turkey was listening to the show this week, and we are still on the charts once again. The Apple Sports podcast charts in the island nation of Cyprus. We don't know who you are. We want to find you. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
All the Cypriots out there.
Tell them about Education, Schmeducation. Where is it? Is it available on all the different apps that people can get it?
Everywhere you listen to podcasts, Education, Schmeducation, Education, SCHM, Education. How you spell it. But yeah, and we also have we have a following in Belgium. We have a bunch of people in Belgium that listen, which is
awesome.
Hilarious because, like, I think they're mostly in Brussels, which makes me think they're probably Hey, thank you, Armando. Which makes me think they're probably American expats because there's a huge Belgium, Brussels is the head of NATO, is headquartered there. So they're probably American. But I like to think that it's a couple Belgian fellas just like, American schools sound crazy.
Crazy. You do not have time for athletics at school?
Won't have milk chocolate and you
no, it's ridiculous. It's a very, very fun podcast. As someone who did not like going to school, I enjoy the time I spent with the show, and particularly that Sarah Joy Shockey episode was
thank you. We've had, it's so weird because I think number 9 came out this week. We've had 3 people on who dropped out of high school, which is amazing to me. But yeah, everyone's got stories about going to school. Let's talk about it, baby. So I, as a future teacher, I'm currently a student at DePaul University in their Masters of Education program.
Go Blue Demons!
Ooh, all right. So I have no idea. I learned recently that they have a basketball team. No fucking but so I can hear these stories and think, oh, let's do it better for the next generation. So that was kind of the impetus behind it, but it's real fun, and it's throw us a subscribe, throw us a like, come hang out. It's real fun.
And you're doing a very meaningful charity element to the show as well.
Also, yes, I was about to mention that. Thank you so much. We do a pop quiz at the end of every episode, and during that pop quiz, I donate money to a charity of the guest's choosing. So far, there have been a lot of great ones. The Saron Halstead is a really great one that we've donated to. The Kiwanis, the Delonis Center in Ann Arbor, Michigan, my hometown, which is a homeless shelter for unhoused people in my hometown of Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm actually doing. They heard the show, reached out to me. I'm doing their fundraiser in June, which is
hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, a lot of great organizations. Bridge of Youth in Minneapolis helps unsheltered people. Of course, my block, my hood, my city in Chicago does a lot of great work. So
great Southside charity. Great people there, man.
The dude who runs that is such a great guy, and he's doing so much good stuff for his community. And he's kind of serving as an example to a lot of people in other communities, not just in the city, but all over the country. And that's great. So if you listen to the show and you don't like it, just know that my heart's in the right place.
Also, if you're just a podcast person, or you guys, I know a lot of people enjoy the video version of the show as well. This is a great show. This is a great extension of if you're just consuming content online while you're working or you're doing something like that. Also, if you're looking to get back in a life after college, you want to start working again, these are your like-minded people. All right, you can still do fun, silly stuff like that. I love hearing that you have some shows coming up too. That we're looking on the other side of the hill a little bit when we get 2 needles in the arm.
I booked 2 club weekends. I booked May, the second weekend in May in Ann Arbor at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, my home club. And then June 11th and 12th, I'm at the Laughing Tap in Milwaukee. So if you hear this and remember it, and you want to come see me do stand-up.
Well, how about you tell them your Twitter? Because you're gonna tweet about it.
Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah, at the Mike O'Keefe on all the social media.
Not the other Mike O'Keefe. The Mike O'Keefe. Mike O'Keefe.
Regular Mike O'Keefe is a real estate agent from Cape Cod, and he can suck it.
You gonna fight him for the name? You gonna fight him for the rights to Mike?
So he has MikeO'Keefe.com. And
you gotta get that, dude. You gotta get that.
He's doing business with it. Very early on, I reached out and I was like, "Hey, man, what would you want for the domain name?" And he said $15,000.
$15,000?
Yeah, $15K you wanted. So I just put a "the" on there. Joke's on you, bitch. Anyway, and it's always great to talk to Big Cav, huh?
Thank you so much, Mike. Miss you a whole lot. I send my best to the old O'Keefe Bradford clan. Hope everyone's doing okay.
Once we get that, Mal's still down in Florida, man.
She's still down there in the action.
She's not. I don't think she's gonna come back until we get to the house. But I understand. I wouldn't want to. I had to come back here for school. But yeah,
she's going to WrestleMania. That's why she's staying down there. She want to get the sweet WrestleMania.
Yeah, once you get the new house, we'll have everyone over. It'll be great.
Definitely, man.
You guys listen, August 15th, housewarming party, Roscoe and Southport. We'll see you there.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's do it. Let's do it. When we get our needles in the arm, we get to have all the fun, right? Thank you guys so much for listening and watching the show. Hope you're well. If you joined it late, don't worry. Just go ahead and listen to it. Watch it on demand. We'll still jump into the comments afterwards as well. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at KevKellam. If you haven't done it already, why are you not following at WrestleZone.com? All right. Thank you guys so much. A ton of different podcasts. We will be live Sunday night after Elimination Chamber with your comments on screen and so much more. Also, check out the new episode we just dropped of our fantasy booking show, WCW Rewritten, which picks up right after Starrcade 1997. Those degenerate D'Angelo brothers are rewriting all of the WCW. So we have that for you. Hours of free content, as much as you would get from a Patreon without paying for a Patreon. No rip to anyone who does, but we're giving it to you. Go subscribe now. Thank you guys so much. Hope you're all well. Remember, when watching wrestling, all right, please enjoy wrestling.